Book summary: A Man on Fire, The Worlds of Thomas Wentworth Higginson by Douglas R. Egerton. A Man on Fire, The Worlds of Thomas Wentworth Higginson by Douglas R. Egerton is a comprehensive biography that explores the remarkable life and contributions of Thomas Wentworth Higginson, a 19th-century abolitionist, writer, minister, soldier, and advocate for social reform. Egerton paints a vivid portrait of a man deeply engaged in the defining struggles of his time, from the fight against slavery to the battle for women's suffrage and the promotion of literary talent. Early life and intellectual foundations. Thomas Wentworth Higginson was born in 1823 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, into a family with deep Puritan roots. Raised in an environment that valued education and public service, he attended Harvard University, where he was exposed to the intellectual current shaping antebellum America. While he initially pursued a career in ministry, he soon found himself drawn toward activism, particularly in the causes of abolition and social justice. Commitment to abolitionism and social reform. By the 1840s and 1850s, Higginson had become a leading voice in the abolitionist movement. Unlike some who preferred a more gradual approach to ending slavery, Higginson believed in direct action. He aligned himself with radical abolitionists who saw armed resistance as a necessary means to achieving freedom for enslaved people. As a member of the Secret Six, he provided financial, logistical support to John Brown's 1859 raid on Harper's Ferry, an event that further polarized the nation and hastened the Civil War. Higginson was also involved in dramatic efforts to aid fugitive slaves. One notable example was his attempt to rescue Anthony Burns, a fugitive slave captured in Boston in 1854. Though the rescue ultimately failed, Higginson's willingness to risk imprisonment and violence highlighted his unwavering commitment to the cause. Leadership in the Civil War. With the outbreak of the Civil War, Higginson transitioned from activism to military service. He became the colonel of the 1st South Carolina Volunteers, one of the first federally authorized black regiments in the Union Army. His leadership of formerly enslaved soldiers was groundbreaking, and he documented their experiences in his book Army Life in a Black Regiment, 1870. Higginson recognized the bravery and resilience of his troops, challenging widespread racist assumptions about black soldiers' abilities and paving the way for broader acceptance of African American participation in the military. Advocacy for women's rights. Beyond his contributions to the abolitionist cause, Higginson was a staunch advocate for women's rights. He supported the women's suffrage movement, working closely with figures like Lucy Stone and Susan B. Anthony. His belief in gender equality was evident in his writings and speeches, where he argued that women deserved the same political and social opportunities as men. He also promoted female writers, helping to expand the literary landscape of the 19th century. Literary influence and mentorship of Emily Dickinson. Higginson's literary legacy is perhaps most famously tied to his relationship with the poet Emily Dickinson. As an editor and mentor, he played a crucial role in shaping Dickinson's posthumous reputation. Though he did not fully understand her poetic genius at the time, his correspondence with her provided her with connection to the broader literary world. His own essays and literary criticism, published in various newspapers and magazines, reflected his progressive views and intellectual curiosity. Later years and enduring legacy. Higginson remained active in public life well into his later years. He continued advocating for labor rights, educational reform, and other progressive causes. While his radical views often placed him at odds with mainstream society, he never wavered in his commitment to justice and equality. In his later reflections, he expressed an enduring faith in the goodness of humanity and the power of activism to effect change. Conclusion. Douglas R. Egerton's Man on Fire presents compelling and richly detailed account of Thomas Wentworth Higginson's life. Egerton captures the complexities of a man who was not only fearless abolitionist but also dedicated advocate for women's rights, military leader, and literary mentor. By highlighting Higginson's contributions across multiple arenas, Egerton ensures that his legacy is recognized and appreciated as an integral part of 19th century American history. Higginson's story serves as testament to the power of conviction and the enduring impact of those who dedicate their lives to the pursuit of justice.